I'm Victor with Volquartsen Firearms. Today we're going to be installing the 1922 flat trigger. This is a collaboration between Creekside Customs and Volquartsen Firearms. Let's get started. Included with the trigger will be the trigger itself with Pretravel and Overtravel already installed, a new plunger, a new trigger return spring, and a separate Overtravel screw for the 22-45 frames, and 1/16 Allen wrench. Tools you'll need for this will only be your 1/16 Allen wrench that is included with it. This will apply to most Mark series frames. So let's get started. We do need to put the hammer in the dropped position, so go ahead and put it on fire. Put your thumb over the hammer and go ahead and release the hammer slowly. You don't want to have it pop up too quickly, as that can damage the gun. The next step is we do need to remove our trigger pin, and there is a tiny little wire spring underneath the pin itself, and it sticks up right in front of the disconnector on the right side of the frame. And you can use your 1/16 Allen wrench to press down on that. And you can use your thumbnail or fingernail to start the pin going through the other side, and then you can go ahead and use your Allen wrench to push it the rest of the way. Once you get it started, you do want to put your finger over the top of the trigger itself, as there are a couple springs that can release a bit of pressure there while you're doing that. So once you have the trigger pin released, you can go ahead and grab onto the trigger itself, and you're going to want to push it up and kind of pull it forward. We need to get the disconnector just past the sear, just like that. Again, keep hold of your current trigger and its spring and plunger, and then you just lift the trigger up off of that. Next, we will go ahead and preset our Overtravel and Pretravel on the new flat trigger. Go ahead and you can actually come in from the top side here to get it just past flush there. And same thing with your Overtravel. Go ahead and run it in just past flush. This should be pretty good setup initially for your initial setup. And then we're going to go ahead and put in your trigger return spring and the plunger itself. Once you've got that in, then we can go ahead and return to the frame. And you'll want to kind of compress the plunger a little bit, and then put the trigger on the first pin, and then slowly compress it over and down like this to get it down into the frame. Once you've got it compressed, keep it together, turn the frame back vertical, double check that you haven't lost your spring for your bolt stop on that side, and then go ahead and lower it back into the frame. So this gets to be the kind of tricky part on most frames. You're going to have to go in, take your trigger pin and put it in from the right side of the frame, and you're going to want to start it in and then put a little bit of pressure on it, and we're going to have to depress that trigger retaining spring a little bit so you get it just past there. And then once you feel like it moved a little bit, then we need to just adjust the trigger, usually going up a little bit until you actually find the hole, just like that. Sometimes twisting it a little bit will help there. Once you get that started, it'll be a little bit tight, and we'll go ahead and run it all the way across. And then you need to get it lined up with the bolt stop. And once you do, a lot of times it'll just pop through. Sometimes you'll need to readjust it a little bit to get it through the frame there. You can lift with the trigger back here. Once you have that in and it's clicked through, you can go ahead and cock your hammer again and then do your function checks. At this point, we can adjust our Pretravel and our Overtravel with our 1/16 Allen wrench. You will need to use the short side. but you can refer to our other video on the adjustment of the trigger adjustment screws that we have on our website. If you have any questions related to the install of this trigger, you can contact us at volquartsen.com.